Hi, everyone. This is Cheryl. Welcome back to That's It. So, I started to wonder about the third victim who was supposed to testify against Sean Diddy Combe, Gina Hung, and she decided to be MIA. She decided not to show up. She decided to change her mind and not to testify against Sean Diddy Combs. And everyone know readily who Gina Hung is. She's the one who dated for Sean Diddy Combs for 5 years, I believe. And while he was dating her, he was dating Cassidy and Young Miami as well. And there's a pattern here, you guys. There's a pattern here with Sean Diddy Combs. Obviously, he's not on trial for being a scumbag, meaning cheating on these beautiful women. He's being charged with racketeering, conspiracy, um, sex trafficking, and transportation and prostitution. That's what he's being charged for. And this is Gina, who's been, was dating Sean Diddy Combs for 5 years. I believe she has a daughter with him, and called Love, I believe. And it just very, I wouldn't say shocked or surprised that she decided to change her mind and not to testify against Sean Diddy Combs. But my thing is, the FBI can still arrest her or contain her or make her testify because this is federal. This is not state. This is federal charge that's against Sean Diddy Combs. So it's just really odd. Like she was about to testify and she was all in for it, or maybe she was being forced to do it. Maybe she didn't want to do it originally because she was probably scared of Sean Diddy Combs and probably his bodyguard or people that still works for Sean Diddy Combs, that she didn't want to testify, but she had to because she was in one of those indictments. And also, she was in Sean Diddy Combs' payroll as well, which I didn't know about until I did my research that she was. But my thing is, she did a candid interview with Tasha K, Unwind with Tasha K, back in 2019, describing the allegation against Sean Diddy Combs, how he abused her and beat her. And this was in 2019. So I just don't understand. This was 2019, and obviously this is 2025. What changed her mind that she backed out of not testifying against Sean Diddy Combs? Was she paid off? Was she scared? Did someone threaten her or her child? What happened? What changed from 2019 upon now that she was going to testify, and she is victim number three? But then they had to, the prosecutors had to change shift here and find other witnesses to testify against Sean Diddy Combs. And also, the prosecutors are deciding whether they can use her testimony without her being present or without her taking the stand. I don't know. I'm not sure. I would think that if I'm being accused by someone, I want to see my accuser. And I believe that's what Sean Diddy Combs is thinking in his sick mind. And I would think so. But again, she didn't. She changed her mind. But again, the FBI can arrest her if she decides not to testify. Have they done that yet? Not sure. I'm not sure about that. But all I know is she's MIA. She's missing, and she's nowhere to be found. Maybe they know where she is. They're just not saying anything. Maybe she's in hiding. I don't know. Maybe she's in fear for her life. It's a possibility. But there is a pattern here with Sean Diddy Combs abusing women in his life. Obviously, Gina, that's one. His first baby mama, okay, and he had a son by her. I forgot her name. Miss, can't pronounce her name, but you know who she is because she's been appearing in Sean Diddy Combs' trial. Next baby mama, may her rest in peace, Kim Porter. He alleged abused her as well. Next victim, Cassidy. Thank God she didn't have children by this man. Thank you, Lord. God was with Cassie, okay? He was with her because just imagine having a child by this monster. She would have stuck with this man for 18 long years, maybe longer. But she dodged the bullet here. She really dodged the bullet not having children by this monster. Now, like I said, He is not being charged for domestic violence, but the prosecutors is showing the jurors a picture, like I keep saying, a picture of Sean Diddy Combs, that there's violence around him, meaning that he hits on women and he abused them and do unthinkable things to these women. Okay, so back to Gina Hung, that like I said, she did an interview with Tasha K, and I just want you to listen to her own words. And Megan Kelly was talking about, about the case, about the third victim of Gina Hung, and you're going to listen to Gina Hung, her interview with Tasha K, and what she had to experience during her abuse with Sean Diddy Combs. So take a listen.
Victims of his in this sort of sex trafficking lane, and then we believe the jury would hear from them. Now we understand only 2 will be heard from. We've been reporting this, but now it's confirmed that victim 3 is not expected to testify. She's been identified as victim 3. 3 sources familiar with the case told CNN this is the woman who's been referred to as Gina throughout the trial. She's an ex-girlfriend of Combs. The defense's theory is that he was cheating on Cassie with Gina and possibly others, and that Cassie was blind with jealousy, and most of her complaints about him related to the fact that he was with Gina, and she was very angry and yelling at him. In any event, what we believed was that Gina was going to take the stand. Now we think she's not, because the source is saying to CNN she just didn't want to do it, did not want to take the stand. But she was referenced in the indictment as part of the racketeering conspiracy count. It says that Combs and his associates wielded his power through his business empire to intimidate, threaten, and lure at least 3 female victims, 1, 2, and 3, under the pretense of a romantic relationship, and coerced them into engaging in commercial sex acts. Prosecutors allege some of these sex acts, known as freak-offs, involved male sex workers who were transported across city or state lines. Here is that woman. Now, there is a belief that they can still get some of this testimony. I don't know how, because you have a right to confront your accuser and to cross-examine. So I'm not sure if they can get this in or not. But I did read somewhere that the prosecution aims to get some of her allegations in there, even if she doesn't take the stand. Here she is. She gave an interview on a show called UnwinewithTashaK on June 14th of 2019. Let's play SOT 31 first.
He had caught me texting another man. We was in Miami, and it got really crazy that time. We was upstairs, and he had we were in his closet, and he pushed me, and I fell to the ground, and then he stood over me. So I was laying on my back, and he stood over me, and he started punching me like this. He avoided my face, but he started punching me on the side of my head, and I was just covering my face. And he did that, and then after he got done doing that, he because he was standing, his legs were in between me, so he stomped on my stomach really hard, and I took the wind out of my breath. I couldn't breathe, and he kept hitting me, and I was pleading to him, can you stop?
Okay. So therefore, I don't understand for the life of me why she doesn't want to testify, why she doesn't want to tell her story. Again, I don't know what she's afraid of, what changed her mind. Maybe originally she did not want to testify, and she wasn't, obviously she's in an indictment, but then next you know it, she backed out and she doesn't want to testify anymore. And there's more interviews in regards to Gina Hung with Tasha K, which you definitely check out, because it's just very cringing. The stuff that she said, that what have Sean Diddy Combs did to her, and she alleged that Young Miami was involved in this too. Obviously, we know who Young Miami is. She also dated Sean Diddy Combs as well. Show a picture. It's obviously Sean Diddy Combs is a scumbag. He can never be in one relationship. He's always sleeping around with different women. You know, if it's not Gina, it's Young Money. If it's not Young Money, it's Cassidy. If it's not Cassidy, it's someone else. Like, he can't keep his pee in his pants. He has to get around and get his freak off or whatever he does in his own privacy of his home. Now, with that being said, Gina allegedly saying that Young Money, excuse me, not Young Money, Young Miami was involved in some of the abuse, that she was not innocent here, that she played a role in this. Now, there's no evidence to back up her story and her claims. And, you know, for me, I have to go by evidence. I have to go by proof that that's true. But again, I'm a good judge of character, and this is not me judging. I promise you guys, it's not me judging. But by me looking at Young Money, she seemed like she's into that freaky stuff. She seemed like she's into Diddy. Okay, that she would be down for Diddy, that she would do anything that Diddy tells her to do. Meaning that if Diddy tells her, you know, I don't know, just do something to Gina or whatever, she'd probably be down with it. She probably would do it because she was that maybe in love with Diddy that she would do anything for this man. And people are thinking that maybe she's the victim of Diddy, because of the things that's going on in Diddy's life, all the charges that's being charged against him. But there's no allegation or anything that she said, Young Miami, that Diddy did anything to towards her, meaning not being violent towards her. And I don't know. I just suspect that maybe she did something, you know, towards Gina out of love for Sean Diddy Combs. Because when you're in love, you do some crazy things for the people that you love. Things that you normally would not expect or to do, but you just do it because you want to please that person. And that's what happened to Cassidy. That's what happened to Kim Porter. That's what happened to Gina Young. You know what I mean? All these women love him, and they would do anything for him. But my thing is, when Diddy was a Puff at the time, dated Jennifer Lopez, he didn't do that to her. He didn't, because he knew better. Because Jennifer Lopez, she had some good PR people in her life. Okay, Benny something was her manager, and he was not having that. And Sean Diddy Combs knew that too. Now, was he controlling, meaning that he stopped by in Jennifer's Lopez scenes during her movie act and stuff like that? Yes, which was very creepy at the time, that she thought that was very loving and sweet, when that was really like kind of like psycho, like I'm working and you just popping up during my set for no apparent reason, creepy and weird. But again, he didn't play that. He didn't even do that because at that time Jennifer Lopez had good PR. She had good publicists, people around her to support her and to let her know. Opposed to Cassidy, she didn't. Opposed to Gina, no. Opposed to Kim Porter, no. So he knew what he was doing. He knew, and he knew he would have not get away with that with Jennifer Lopez. Period. Did he cheat on Jennifer Lopez? Yes, because Jennifer Lopez stated that in the past that he did, and that's why they had a falling out, and she dumped him. Because again, Sean Diddy Combs is not a faithful man. But again, that's not what he's being tried for. He is being tried for sex trafficking, racketeering conspiracy, and transportation of prostitution. Now, the prosecution need to prove that, okay? They need to prove one of those three counts to put Sean Diddy Combs in prison for the rest of his life. That's what they need to prove. And, you know, even though Gina is out, and it's been, 3 weeks or 4 weeks during this trial, she's out, but, you know, things might change. You know, that's what happens when you're in trial. You know, 1 minute everything is set, and the next minute something happens and it's completely different. So I don't know what's going to happen, what is going to happen with Gina, victim number 3, if she's going to testify or they're just going to scratch her out and move on to the next person who's going to testify against Sean Diddy Combs and give their story. And I hope and pray that Gina change her mind and not let fear win, not let Sean Diddy Combs win for her not telling her story. Because if she can tell her story back in 2019, and I know it's very hard to do, to relive that event and relive that trauma. But if she can do it in 2019, I believe that she can do it again. She just needs that good support system and that good people in her life to motivate her and for her to do the right thing and for her to speak out what this man has done to her in the past and just tell her story. But again, that's up to her. And also that's up to the FBI if they're willing to arrest her or force her to testify. I don't know. With the government, you cannot mess around with the government because the government don't play. I keep repeating myself like a broken record. The government you do not want to mess with at all. You have to be compliant to what they're asking for, what they need from you, and just follow the rules, unfortunately, because that is the FBI. This is a federal case. It is not a state case. Completely different compared to a state case and a federal. Obviously, in a federal, we cannot. There's no cameras allowed. There's no audio recording. None of that stuff because it's government. Opposed to state, you can bring a camera, you can bring a phone, you can bring whatever devices you can please. Not please, that's wrong. Whatever devices you feel like bringing. Yes. But federal, no. It's just a no. So, moving on. Now, I want to talk about Jonathan Oddi, okay? Now, everyone knows about this man, what happened to him in 2018, that he went to Miami and went to Trump's hotel and started shooting up the place for no apparent reason. Apparently, he was just out of his mind, deranged, and not thinking clearly. And I don't know what possessed him to go in that hotel and just start shooting at people. But anyway, he got arrested, and one of the police officers was interrogating him and asked him questions. Why did he do that? Why did he shoot up the hotel? Then he started talking about Sean Diddy Combs and Cassidy and among other crazy things. And no one didn't believe him. Okay, no one didn't believe him at first. They just thought this was just a crazy, deranged man just talking a bunch of nonsense. And it went viral. It really did. But now, this was 2018, you guys, and now we're in 2025. And we all remember that Cassidy took the stand. She was the first victim, and she took the stand, and she mentioned Jonathan Oddi. And everyone was saying, oh, shoot, this crazy man was telling the truth this whole time, because clearly Cassidy said that Jonathan Oddi was one of the male prostitutes who engaged sex with Cassidy, and Sean Diddy Combs was watching while he was masturbating. So what he was saying, was the truth. Now, I have to say, when you hear a crazy person, man or woman, say some crazy outrageous thing, please, at least believe them, at least fact check, because half the time when people say crazy things, they are telling the truth. And a lot of people bypass it and say, oh, this person's nuts, I'm not going to believe what they're saying. And clearly what he was saying was the truth. He was telling the truth this whole time. So I tend to believe when people are saying something that's very odd or weird, I'm going to do my research. I'm going to do my investigation to find out if this is really true or not. Or I'm not just searching in a rabbit hole and thinking that this is not true or not. And he was actually telling the truth. And I just wish that people would have believed him at the time in 2018, that what he was saying, that he was a sex slave to Cassidy and Diddy. And he heard some conversations with Sean Diddy Combs, to the point that he thinks that the DEA was involved in some drugs being moved in private jets, that it was pink cocaine, and among other stuff, that he had he contracted many diseases as well, Jonathan Oddi, like STDs, herpes, and stuff like that. And he was saying, yo, I contracted all these diseases from you, Cassidy, or other male prostitutes that you guys been hooking up with. This is disgusting. What are you going to do here? And apparently, they got freaked out, Cassidy and Diddy, so they paid him $2 million. $2 million. Now, this is in record here, because Jonathan Oddi, he didn't have anything in his account. He had zero money, and now all of a sudden, poof, he has $2 million in his bank account. I found that very suspect. Okay, $2 million. A check was wrote to him, $2 million. Then he mentioned Rick Ross, DJ Khaled, how they are gay, and they've been doing some freaky stuff. Let me remind you, I don't really care what people do in their own privacy in their bedroom, what preference, male or female, that's their business, that's their life. Whatever they do, that's their business. That's not what I'm here for to talk about. That's irrelevant to me. But what is irrelevant is what Jonathan Oddi had to say. That that day of 2018, that statement that he made, that he was telling the truth, and also Cassidy was telling the truth as well during the witness stand when she testified that he was one of the male escort, that he was being paid by her and along Sean Diddy Combs, that they engaged in sexual performance. Now I'm going to let you watch the statement, the interview that he said to one of the police officers in his own words and what he said. And I have to say, it's just very, very, very disturbing. And I just wish someone would have followed up on it at that time in 2018. But again, everyone thought he was very crazy. He was weird. He was just making stuff up. And now everything is resurfacing. And everything that he said was the truth. So take a listen.
Okay, they're gay. Who? Both. Diddy and Ross. And Khaled. They're all gay.
DJ Khaled, Rick Ross, and P. Diddy?
Yeah.
They're all gay?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I had sex with Cassie and Sean. Basically, he would masturbate and tell me what to do with Cassie. I had like 15 encounters, and I heard a lot.
Oh, hidden in plain sight.
It's hidden.
I think I see what you said.
Okay, how do I know this?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. How do you know this?
Do you know Sean Combs?
Puff Daddy?
Yeah.
P. Diddy, whatever you call himself these days. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he's part of what's called the Boule. The Boule is a branch of the Illuminati.
Okay.
Now, what he's saying is, because he has a heavy accent, and I wrote this down, he said Black Boule, which is a part of Illuminati. Okay, it is for Black people snitching on Black people. That's my understanding of it. I don't know the full detail of it. That he heard Sean Diddy Combs talking to someone over the phone while he was performing his business with Cassie, and that's what he's saying that Sean Diddy Combs is into, and that's the organization that he is in.
Basically, what happens is following. The hip-hop agenda is an agenda to move drugs law in the United States. You need to report the DEA. They move all the dope. Okay, all the dope on private jets, which don't get screened by customs, by DEA.
Stop right there. I absolutely believe him on that part, okay? If you have a private plane, it's obviously different from commercial planes, okay? If you have your own private plane and you're smuggling or moving drugs, obviously, and the DEA is involved in this because they're getting some money out of it. Of course, they're going to try to cover it up and not have it on document. Hello? Have anyone heard of El Paso? Other, drug lord dealers? If you have a private plane and you working with the government or the DEA or people, you pay them off. So it doesn't go through customs, that they can just have their little drugs sweep away up in the plane, up in the sky, without even being caught. It has happened many times with other drug smugglers, period. So if people are saying that doesn't happen, you're lying and you're fooling yourself, because it does happen. Especially if you have the right connection and you have the cash, you can make things disappear and go away. Continuing on.
Inside the United States, okay, they move what's called high-grade power. And I had a settlement with Sean, okay, and he belongs to that agenda. That's why he's so famous. They land all the contracts. It's these attorneys, which are Mark Garagos and Ben Mercedes. Ben Mercedes worked for Bad Boy Entertainment for 4 years and worked for Hillary Rodman for 5. Okay, when I take Sean the threat of death on me. Okay, I don't have it, but I can make it available under secrecy. That means that I wouldn't be liable because I don't want to be getting framed for anything. Okay. I had sex with Cassie and Sean. basically he would masturbate and tell me what to do with Cassie. I had like 15 encounters, and I heard lots of business. Because what they would do is Sean talks a lot on the phone and on the TV with people and stuff, and I was like a sis.
Yeah,
Okay, now
I get all of it.
you're gonna need an internet so I can show you. If I show you the website, you're just gonna go like, oh fuck.
All right. Help me understand you. How old are you?
I'm 42. I've been through all my life. I've had a great life. I've settled $4.125 million with Diddy.
You got a girlfriend? You got anybody that you talk to? I'm trying to understand.
I don't talk to
somebody that you interact with on a daily basis.
Yes, I have a good friend, a breakfast buddy. His name is Louis Gonzalez, and we go to the gym every day. He has nothing to do with what happened Thursday. Though he's a witness, he's gotten shot at by them, and he's a witness that Ross came and threatened me at my house post-settlement. After we settled, Diddy sent Ross, and I asked him to go see if that was Ross and put him to the identity.
I believe his name is Rick Ross.
Gonzalez, he can back up what you're saying about P. Diddy and Ross and all that? Okay, all right. And you said Gonzalez didn't know anything about what you did? You didn't talk to him before?
Nothing. He knows nothing. He was actually worried about it. He's like, hey, what's up? And I told him, look, man, what's happening is he's trying to cool things down.
Okay, we can get out of here. So you get my drift, you guys. So it's just crazy. And this man was telling the truth, even though the police officer who gave his statement, took Jonathan Oddi's statement, thought he was a whack job, that he just made all this stuff up, and he was all cuckoo in the head, when all reality, this man was telling the truth. So yes, I believe everything that he said, and Cassidy confirmed it when she took the stand and when she testified. So everything that he is saying, Jonathan, is the truth. Okay, I don't believe anything else what other people are saying, and then people need to start believing other people. It's just like, especially, when people are saying that they've been harassed or abused, especially the things that have been happening to these women with Sean Diddy Combs, no one didn't believe them, no one didn't take these women's word for it. And this is off topic here, but when Blake Lively last year went to New York Times to do an interview and say that Justin Baldoni sexually harassed her during the set of It Ends With Us, whoever interviewed Blake Lively, they took her word for it, just like that, without any fact checking, without even doing their own investigation. They just took the word of her mouth because she is Blake Lively, because she's married to Ryan Reynolds, without even fact checking everything. Basically, Justin Baldoni is a monster, and he sexually assaulted her during the set. It Ends With Us, and slander his name, trying to ruin his reputation and everything that he worked so hard for to provide for his family and for his businesses, and to believe a woman. But then when Diddy's victims try to say something, nothing, crickets. You know what I mean? It's just such a double standard and such a hypocrisy that they won't even believe the victims who's telling the truth, who actually have proof of the things that happened to them during their assault of Sean Diddy Combs. And like I said, he's not being charged for domestic violence and assault. But my thing is, these women were too afraid to go to report it because Sean Diddy Combs had the LAPD in their pockets, and they knew they cover a lot of evidence up, got rid of a lot of evidence, okay, because Sean Diddy Combs told them to. And with some corrupt police officers, they want some extra money. They want a payday because whatever they're making in their own salary and the law enforcement, it's not enough. So they always want more. You're always going to get one dirty cop out there, whether they're LAPD, Chicago PD, NYPD, whatever state that they're in. You're going to get some dirty ass cops out there to do anything for money to cover things up instead of doing the right thing. They should not even be honored to have a badge, whoever they are, whoever is working for Diddy, whoever's doing Diddy's bidding. They shouldn't be honored to have a badge because they're a disgrace, in my opinion. Disgrace. because these victims, there are real, true victims out there that were being assaulted and beaten up. And if there was a paper trail of their abuse, then it will coincide the things that they're saying right now. Obviously, it's their word against Diddy. And thank God that Cassidy's mother, Virginia, took pictures of the bruises and stuff like that. Thank God for that. And at the time that this abuse was started, there was no social media. There was no Me Too movement. There was none of that stuff. So it was basically the victim's word against Sean Diddy, and among the staff, among the HR department and people that were involved, they couldn't do anything because they were saying that Sean Diddy Combs was untouchable, that no one wouldn't do anything. No one wouldn't believe them because they'd rather believe Sean Diddy Combs because he's just hip hop mogul, superstar, and he couldn't do anything wrong. And I'm like, what is wrong with our society these days? Because they're rich and they have money, they have influence, they think that they're not capable of doing anything. They're not capable of murder. They're not capable of smuggling drugs or whatever, opposed to a normal person like me and you. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's like if you have money, you have power, you can get away with anything. They will believe you. They will believe anything that you do. And they know it too, some of these celebrities. They know it too. They know that they're untouchable. They're so powerful. The cops won't do anything because I can just pay them off. They can just get rid of evidence for me. And once a cop do that, that's it. There's no turning back because Sean Diddy Combs got you. You get what I'm saying? Once you do anyone's dirty bidding, they got you. And there's no way to unhook that unless you tell the truth. But some people, when their money is so good, they're willing to take the risk of their career and everything, and thinking that it's going to go away and that they're not going to get caught. But like I said, when things are hitting in the dark, things will come to the light. It always comes to the light. And that is a fact. So that's all I have to say about that. So let me know what you think about what I just talked about. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. That's it. And I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.